Rodney Fox has popped in, and you are communications and PR for the Hillingdon U3A. Hi, Rodney.
Good morning to you.
Now, first of all, what is the U3A?
Well, the U3A is a self-help organisation for people no longer in full-time employment. And we provide a mixture of educational, creative and leisure opportunities in a friendly environment for those who can match that very wide criterion.
And the Hillingdon one, you meet at the Winston Churchill Hall for your main meetings?
Our main monthly meeting is at the Winston Churchill Hall, which we have met there for a number of years.
And you've got 850 members in Hillingdon, which is quite a few, isn't it? And it's 21 years old this year.
Well, that's right. We are one of 40 U3As in London. We have sister organisations in Northwood and Harrow and Ealing and right across the capital.
And a bit of history, perhaps, of the U3A. You were mentioning it started in France.
Yes, and it was originally called the University of the Third Age, and it was a use of the French universities to allow seniors in there to attend and learn things. When the model moved over to the UK and eventually out to Australia and South Africa and a variety of other Commonwealth countries, the focus was more on an independent organisation in each location, performing as an independent role within an umbrella organisation called the Third Age Trust.
And there's all kinds of interest groups, aren't there, amongst the membership? So you have members that have interest in all kinds of things.
Well, that's right. We are, by the way, self-funded and entirely volunteer-driven. So the people who lead these learning interest groups are themselves members of the U3A. And typically, in our case, we have about 80 interest groups, and they range right across a mixture of learning, of languages, of a variety of sorts of history like family, social, local history and so on, arts, variety of different things related to creative work.
Yeah. Computer, I guess, there'll be some
We have a
tech
computer
stuff.
group, which is very popular, especially bearing in mind as people move into their senior age that they have less experience on computing perhaps, but we are finding newer, younger members coming in are much more savvy. And so now we're seeing a traditional face-to-face organisation, both in terms of its monthly meetings and its interest group meetings, is now taking into account the use of technology so that those who can't get in very easily, or perhaps those who live a distance away or don't want to travel in the winter, can perhaps also use virtual means of participating in those learning groups. We tend to use people's houses if it's a small interest group, and local church halls if they are larger groups, or village halls. So for instance, in Ickenham we use the Ickenham Village Hall. We have a Scottish country dancing group meets there. We use the United Reformed Church there, and I run a group on linguistics that happens to meet there, as does about 8 or 9 other groups that use that facility. And by using those facilities, it means we can keep our costs very low, so that a typical annual fee for Hillingdon U3A is £20 per annum.
That is very good value, £20 a year. And that covers everything. I suppose if the groups and things go out for trips, it wouldn't cover that.
No, it doesn't cover that, obviously. And if you have a coffee, then you pay for your coffee.
Yeah.
But it covers you the ability to join any of the interest groups that there are around and participate in the events that they have.
So it's aimed at people who are no longer working full-time, but what's the age criteria?
Well, it's interesting you raise that because there is no age criteria. I looked again at the principles of the U3A movement, and quite clearly the only thing is that we look for people no longer in full-time employment, because we meet during the week in the weekdays, and it would sort of exclude them from participating. But in this day and age, not only do we have retired people joining, but also those perhaps who are facing the realities of life currently, perhaps don't have all of their time taken up and would like to do this alongside working in their part-time in their employer's organisation or as a consultant.
You've been involved for how long in the U3A?
I joined the U3A when I retired in 2002, I think it was. I had an interest in family history. And so I joined the local one, which met at that stage in the Odeon in Uxbridge, was where they had the monthly meetings. Eventually that became too expensive for us to do that, so we moved out to the Winston Churchill Hall over time. I'm a member of the committee. I participate in the family history group. I also run a group which is focused on linguistics, as I mentioned before. So I'm both if you like, a teacher and a learner, I suppose.
I'm sure it's very much a social organisation, isn't it? You meet new friends and interesting people.
Well, that's especially the case as we move through life. Things happen such as bereavement and so on, and a lot of people are lonely. It's probably one of the biggest problems that there are for people as they move through life. And of course, we are a social organisation. Learning is done in a social environment. It's face-to-face is the traditional way in which we've worked. And so you can get to meet new friends. And in this case, you could perhaps have 850 new friends if you joined our U3A.
Yes. And how do members get to know what's going on?
Well, that's through a newsletter. The website has information on it. Also, the monthly meetings. We still hold the monthly meetings, by the way. We just do them virtually at the moment. And about 150 of our members typically will come in virtually and participate in that. And that runs a similar way that it does when it's face-to-face, except you do miss the face-to-face element. And that's we will return to as soon as we can gain access again to the Winston Churchill Hall.
Yeah.
A number of our groups, of course, during COVID also went virtual, but we've now seen a return to face-to-face meetings, which is really what most of our members want to experience. Though many of the smaller meetings, it's more of an intimate gathering with friends it's become as people have been there. So if you're playing Rummy Cub or Mahjong or Bridge or any of those, it's people you want to see because you play with them and against them on a regular basis. And that enables you to do that and spread the number of friends you've got.
That sounds great. There's a website, isn't there, as well, for more information?
Yes. u3asites.org.uk/Hillingdon. Our membership secretary in our brochure has a telephone number in there, 07532 268 002. And that will enable you to ask any questions, receive an application form and so on. You can pick up our brochures at most libraries. We do distribute them regularly into the libraries.
Well, thanks, Rodney, for coming in and telling us all about the U3A, and hopefully you'll have some more people join and take part in that wide range of activities.
Lovely.